Alright, welcome back, guys. A little bit early as the game has started. Like I said in the opening here, it's actually been one of the swiftest and best managed qualifiers that I think I've been a part of in a while. Usually there's always like big breaks as people take a break or you just missed out on the most available option, but we've been able to pick one option and actually carry through with it. So that has been nice in one way and just surprisingly not restful in others. But fortunately, I have Steadfast still with me for this North American qualifier, and we spawn onto Blackburn with some action already underway. Just a little probe action. Bottom left, it is Special.
And his opponent, spawning down in the bottom right, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming. He is the smiling assassin herO. He's so cute. He's such a wholesome... His smile lights up my world, you know? Like, it's just... He's so adorable, and, like, him and both him and Byun are just the nicest dudes. It's so awesome. Like, Byun, when you're like, oh, can I join your game? He's like, hi, yes. Like, oh, thank you for casting my game. And it's like, oh. And then he'll, like, ask if I'm ready. And I'm like, you're not supposed to do this. I'm a caster. I'm not even a person. Why are you treating me like a human being?
Yeah. I never quite described it that much, but I do remember just like so many times, especially actually it's kind of against the grain for Korean players specifically, as usually Korean players are more well known for just go, go, go. Like they don't even ask, they literally just go. And if they don't go, if like an admin is in charge, they just spam go, go, go the entire time. So I've also been surprised by like, you know, people actually asking. Because I'll be all tabbed, I just figure they're not going to ask. And I'm the one holding it up, because I'm just like, oh, what? No, never wait for me. Like, wait, it's not worth it waiting for ads like it used to be back in the day. Well, unless you're like Wardy, I suppose. But yeah, it is herO, and he is smiling assassin, really awesome guy. I did once try to say thank you in Korean to him, and he kind of laughed at me, but that's okay. It's all right. He is going to go for cheese, because that's what he does. herO has always been a very aggressive player, and the military didn't make him less aggressive somehow. What a surprise. So.
This is going to be Parting's Adept Twister, by the way. This is going to be 3-gate Adept getting across the map with 6 Adepts and just set up behind the main mineral line, or behind the natural mineral line. But Special, he's already picked off quite a few probes. 2 probes getting picked off, and he is going to dodge around the Adept. Yo, Special. That is some phenomenal play right here with this Reaper. Is he going to get another probe?
Not quite. Not quite. He really wants it, though. But yeah, I don't think it was one shot. It was damn close, damn close. So that was an excellent Reaper for 2 reasons, right? Did a lot of damage, lasted a long time, and he got a lot of scouting done, so a notable lack of technology there for herO. So Special knows that he's going to have to be a little defensive. He's going to opt to add on the Cyclone upgrade, which I gotta say, wasn't really expecting. I don't think it's going to help as fast as the Adept hits, first of all, but then second of all, is it going to be a very effective follow-up to this? Well, I guess that's more so what we're going to be finding out. Perhaps he thought it wasn't going to be the Adepts, the Adept Twister? He thought it was something else. Or he is just confident in his initial hold plan, and he's like, whatever.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by this as well. This feels like he thinks it's like a Stargate play, like a proxy Stargate.
Oh, he's playing mech. That's why.
Oh, yo, let's go Special. Okay, Blackburn, great map for this. I am so on board. Special is like one of 2 players that will go mech in TvP, and the other one is, of course, his idol, TY.
Yeah, pretty much the 2 players that would. Yes, TY is right now retired. But I mean, Euthermal also can throw it in. He's actually, like, really stopped trying for the most part. And usually, maybe, like, a really big map he'll try it. But there's a reason that not many people try and go mech versus Protoss. And generally, it's not that good. There's a couple of weak points when it comes to TvP. So a lot of the times, in my opinion, it kind of relies on doing early game damage. Now, sometimes that could be as simple as Hellions killing a handful of probes, or Cyclones killing Stalkers at a shield battery, delaying a 3rd Nexus, or even the Protoss doing damage to themselves, basically trying to deal damage to the Terran, trying to punish them for going for mech, and then not quite being able to do so. But I do think that if everything's even, if herO had gone for a normal blink opener into 3rd base, I would not feel good for Special. That's the default. Mech's not that great against Protoss, requires fairly specific situations. Well, already things are going quite well for Special. Didn't take any damage, hero's 2 base committal. Just got the Warp Prism.
Yeah, that's how many gates is he on? He's on 3 gates. He's adding on. Oh wow, he's adding on a lot more. This is a very heavy commitment. He's going to try and rebuild that Warp Prism. I feel like this is such a bad decision against Mech. Like, that's. Am I in the wrong there? Like, this just feels so weird.
So here's like I don't know. So that like I do kind of feel like you're right. I do feel like this isn't going to work, especially because the Warp Prism died. And it does feel like herO is scrambling. His first attempt didn't work, and then his second attempt has been delayed. Like, it just doesn't feel good. I do think that this is, if this is again, like, this is my plan from the get-go, because somehow I know this guy's going to go mech. I don't mind a 2-base charge all in versus a mech player, because it can be very hard for them to handle it if they don't manage to kill the Warp Prism, if Zealots unload and warp in the main. But that's, you know, that's not this game. Everything's already gone topsy-turvy.
Yeah, and he added on 2 additional gateways after the Warp Prism had already gone down. Now he is... Okay, I'm kind of on board for this. The Quad Adept going to try and get something done. Special trying to step forward here. If he'd scanned, he might have actually killed those Archons because there's no shield battery. But meanwhile, he is trying to deal with these Adepts on the other side of the map. And he is going to take a fair bit of damage. Gold base will get scouted, and we see the power of Magfield Accelerator Cyclones versus buildings. It is highly effective. But Special just lost 12 SCVs to that Adept Taras. That's quite a bit of damage. Yeah,
that was a decent harass. It really was, but it's still not quite enough to make up for everything here, especially as herO did not manage to finish his Nexus. Had he finished the Nexus and was on a gold-based mining, this actually might have been enough, but nah, not so. Warp Prism does not get locked on, actually, so the Zealots get locked on, and the rest of the army appeared, but I don't actually think herO has a good enough army. I think this as a distraction for the Warp Prism in the main is brilliant, and we have the classic Sentry being warped in, but the Cyclones are already here. Unfortunately, the Cyclone only going to lock out about half of the Cyclones, which wasn't the purpose. I think it was supposed to lock out everything.
Yeah, that was definitely the purpose, but we are going to see these SCVs trying to transfer back into the natural. He will lose a ton of them. The thing is, those force fields were not the best, I don't think. He is going to still get in here, but there is a tank on the high ground. Oh my god, everything is just so sloppy and messy. Like, units are just dying on both sides. herO, he's on 6 army supply. He just got absolutely annihilated in that fight.
It just was not a good attack in the natural.
Everything about that was so weird.
And then he lost sight of the high ground, so he couldn't even do anything.
Yeah, that one Immortal just, like, derping its way through the natural and then getting recalled was, like, the perfect description of this game.
Yeah. Oh, man, but I love it. This is exactly why I like herO. Because it's kind of like a Haas. Like, if you covered up the names, this wouldn't be too much for stress to say Haas. Although Haas now more so plays like a macro cheese. But anyways, it just... it's chaotic, it's very fun, but it's also a bit fruitless. herO, as I was saying to you, actually, is that it feels like maybe 1 or 2 qualifiers have gone all right for him, and it's like, yeah, awesome. I really love that. But most of the time, when I actually get to cast him, it's not that great. And this is one of those times, because I think he did do well in the Asus Raw qualifier, didn't he? Or got like far or something like that.
I think he got really far in that one. Oh, I love that he's target firing down the Dark Shrine there. Denying that blink DT and making sure no more DTs come in. It is a weird base trade scenario.
It is.
And honestly, this is going better for herO because of these DTs. Oh, and there's no third orbital command yet.
Oh my god.
And Special can't afford one. Hold the phone.
I assumed this was game, but apparently it's not.
How many DTs are there? Because there's now a missile turret, but there's 4 DTs on the map.
Where the hell are the other ones?
And Special can't afford to build any more units. Now there's 3 DTs.
He can't build a structure. He can't build another missile turret.
He can't build another missile turret.
Missile turret. It doesn't transport. You don't lift a missile turret.
And all of his SCVs are on the other side of the map, and he can't drop mules. He's got no mining.
This is what
is happening right now? If that Dark Shrine had not been sniped, I would actually say this is herO's game. I would actually say this is herO's game to win, because he could have warped in 2 more DTs. Special is going to come all the way back home. He will find one of the DTs. Okay, that is very, very big. He can only afford to build 1 SCV right now, though.
Yeah. Oh, two.
But he,
Yeah.
well, okay, yeah, he's coming back home with these units.
The
He is
missile
going to
turret.
wait. Where did he just get the money?
Yeah, he did
he
find
always have-
100 somehow. I think maybe he canceled something that was supply
Okay.
blocks or something like that, right? I'm not sure either, but of course he spends it on missile turret because he can't keep scanning. He needs the mules. Oh, no!
and the Threat
Oh my god!
No.
Oh, the recall.
Well, this is actually so cool because you talked about creating chaos, and that is what herO did in this game. And I mean, yeah, that first attack was a disaster. It went so poorly for him. But now he's kind of forced this very cool, like, weird situation where I don't think he can really make a miracle happen, but he's given himself a chance.
He's given himself a fairly good chance. Like,
Yeah.
I do think that ultimately goes to special because now that he's got a base on lockdown, he'll rebuild, and he still has a really good army. So basically, he'd have to take so long in rebuilding that herO also gets a really good army. And for herO to do that, I think you need to build like a good 15 stalkers, and then it's combative again. But if he only gets like 6 stalkers or just 10, then I'm not sure. I'm talking about stalkers because he does have blink. And actually, blink stalkers are a very effective way of dealing with cyclones because you can also usually get a decent number of them. That block wasn't quite successful or full, but it still ended up killing the 1 DT. So otherwise, if you can't blink on top and chase after the cyclones, you're gonna have to just try and get them a big old surround, like force fields or zealots, and that's something that herO just tried to do, but unfortunately was unsuccessful. The Archons are gone, the stalkers will be eventually chased down, and herO has not gotten enough time. He was kind of close to it, like he is warping in a decent amount of units at this point, but can he kill all of these cyclones? I don't. Maybe?
I mean,
Maybe
they're really low on
low.
HP. 2 of them are really low, yeah. That scan actually very good. Oh, great micro from herO right there, blinking away as the Cyclone Snipe comes on in. Now he loses the pylon at that base, which means no more warp-ins there. And even just using the Hellbats to tank is good. But excellent Blink Stalker micro so far coming out of herO.
Yeah, I mean, obviously his big targets are the cyclones, but as long as he doesn't, I mean, if he doesn't take hull damage, then it's all fair. And unfortunately, he's starting to take hull damage, but more stalkers at warp. He actually blinks aggressively! Oh, the Wood of Mines actually take down so many of the stalkers. There's still 2 cyclones left over. And now the tanks join in as well. I don't think herO actually should have blinked aggressively. He didn't, GG. Oh, I don't know if he didn't realize the Wood of Mines were there, or he thought that this was truly the last army, right? Like the tanks wouldn't reinforce. But oh, I feel like if he hadn't blinked aggressively, he could have actually continued playing the blink micro game. It was going okay, even if we didn't have that many.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. Or even if he'd had an additional pylon, because those stalkers that he got that blinked, that caused that, like, let me blink from 2 sides on you, they were coming from the main. If they had come from that third that gold base, and he has like 8 or 9 stalkers or 10 stalkers, I think he cleans that up before the reinforcements come in, and then it's like what, like 2 tanks, and I don't know. I actually think herO was like 15 seconds away from taking control of and then winning that game.
Yeah, I think he was. I think there was actually a couple of exit options. The stalkers were doing quite well, despite only having 5 or 6 of them. So the fact that he could have actually gotten to about 9 had he not blinked aggressively, yeah, then he's like, you know, he's definitely taken out those cyclones with a single shot. And anything else is actually kind of easy to deal with. Oh, man. I don't know. Yeah, as I said, either he thought a couple of things. Either there's no Wood on Mine, right? Maybe that would have changed things. Maybe he thought that special was also not going to be able to reinforce at all. So he was like, okay, if I can just get mining back, like, I'll win. Or he actually thought he was screwed the entire game and kind of just like shrugged and just went for it, you know? I feel like those are the 3 options, the 3 things going through herO's mind.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. My money is definitely on the third one, but like he didn't panic really until like right at the very end.
You're right.
That was a really cool game after like a really bad game.
I know. That was just, there was, oh my god. And it's like one of those things where it's also like if herO had played standard at any point, like imagine if that, you know, would that have been just the easiest game ever? Because it was truly a bad game for herO. And then suddenly it still ended up going okay. I don't know, man. I don't know. But Glittering Ashes is game 2. We don't necessarily have to do introductions. Crazy game. herO tries to go for an aggression, it doesn't work. Special tries to go for mech, and even that game, a victory for Special. I still am like, they didn't convince me to go mech on Blackburn. Didn't convince me.
Yeah, no, it definitely didn't. Because everything went pretty well for him, and it still went very, very strangely. Now we are going to be seeing this, this kind of, I like to call this one the TY opener, because he's kind of the player that pioneered it here. Oh, getting the harassment on that SCV, slowing down the barracks is always nice, even if it's just for, you know, quarter of a second. But yeah, it's that quick second depot to wall off, deny the scout. And herO is still relatively new coming back here, so he may not have as much experience with even stuff that's, you know, even 6 months to a year older in the meta.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this and doing some like quick math in my head, and he's been around for not a year, but yeah, 6 months. Because I think he was practicing maybe a year ago, but he wasn't really like back. So basically, this 2-year gap, not quite 2 year actually, for military service. I was wondering what metas he actually would have missed out on as a Protoss player. And I think what I arrived on was that he actually didn't miss that many metas. He left after, I think, the big proxy meta. So I don't think that would have been an issue. And otherwise, like, what is Terran versus Protoss really changed up on? I think he was around for 4-gate blink, and he was around for double upgrade charge. Like, sure.
I would say the only thing that like is kind of missed out on. Nice, by the way, blocking this Reaper. Good job. Pro will scout the timing of the command center. That's actually a great bit of information. And it's going to be a Stargate for herO. I would say he probably didn't miss out on that much in terms of Protoss play. He might have missed out on Terrans. There was a short period of time where there was like a 1 racks fast 3cc stim timing with a very fast +1 weapons with a bunch of Marines that Terrans were doing. I know Beyond did it for a little bit. Clem did it for a little bit. Oh, this is a little cheeky little run by here. Oh, but the Hellion gets himself surrounded. Not exactly ideal. However, he's still going to pick off 3 probes. Do you think that's worth it?
No, not really.
No.
You know, even the extra Reaper on the barracks delaying, I guess I didn't really delay the reactor, but it takes 50-50 more and more time. Like, I don't think that was enough. I think you want to get like 5 and above for that. And then you also want to get to the main. Or the very least a
scout. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Ooh, is he going to shade into this Widow Mine? Oh, don't do it. Oh, he's going to do it. Oh, no. And he even did it such that, like, the splash damage came on in. Repair is not enough. Oh, that's a little bit unfortunate. Oh, the hidden Widow Mine.
It actually kind of injures the SCVs, though.
Yeah.
It also reveals the Widow Mine, so it doesn't get taken down, but the Oracle can't really combat this. I don't know why he's combating this. Why? It was not worth the 2 Marines.
Well, that was really expensive.
Oh, okay, they missed the armor change.
Oh, yeah. That is true, actually. He's like, wait a minute, why is my Oracle dying so fast? That's a Viking. That's not supposed to happen. He is going to get into the main base here. Did he scout the fusion core? Ooh, well, I think, yeah, he scouts it eventually. And he's going to pick off 3 SCVs. That's pretty nice. We were talking about, like, messy, scrappy games. This is already shaping up to be a pretty messy, scrappy game in terms of just, like, they've both taken a fair bit of damage in this early game.
Yeah, well, yeah, some questionable well, Special's actually doing some totally normal things. I guess his questionable decision, if you will, is the battlecruiser. Very unorthodox. But here's Oracle. Well. It just, yeah, it's definitely not perfect, clean, standard PvT play, trying to play the epitome of PvT to show that they are truly the best at just mechanical PvT. No, there's a little more happening here. So Special trying to get away with the fusion core. I mean, it's possible he would have, actually, even though Oracles are usually very good at scouting. I would say sometimes in, you know, PvT, they're not super concerned with getting to the back of the base, you know? Like, maybe versus Zerg, you're really scared of a Spire, but most of the time in PvT, you scout the,
Yo, when he lands the Viking, let's go.
It's still gonna
That's
die,
actually so sick. Yeah, but he forces the Oracle to use its energy.
Oh, what? No, you knew it was a battlecruiser. Why is there
Wait, why is... Yeah, why is he making Phoenixes instead of... Did he think it was Liberator range?
He might have. You might have, but then who in their right mind would do that when someone opens Stargate?
Yeah, you wouldn't. It's and I mean, Special has done this quite a bit. He's like one of the few players that will actually go battle cruisers in this matchup. He does need to get to the dead airspace because without with a Void Ray coming out, that battle cruiser will eventually die if it takes enough damage. But he's going to rally back into this army, and I love this. He always goes for this Marine tank battle cruiser style, and he's already going to find a Phoenix right there. This is a scary-ass push.
It is. It absolutely is. It's not the super cheese on one base that I know that Fantasy did, but it is still a bit surprising. Just kind of right through the middle when you're distracted by the battlecruiser is kind of the key part of this. So it doesn't actually go that well, even though it was a bit of a surprise and Hero was a bit late to defending it. It wasn't the latest he could have been, I suppose. And the battlecruiser wasn't, despite going up against Phoenix, I mean, it wasn't really, like, it wasn't so devastating. Hero handles that about as well as someone who definitely wasn't prepared to handle it would have. And is still on 3 bases. And presumably knows he's going up against Mech. I mean, I would assume it's Mech, because we are getting more battlecruisers and Yamato on the way.
Yeah, it'd be very weird if it wasn't Mech at this point. Oh, look at that NG Bay timing. Just barely blocks the charge lots from getting it on top of... I don't know what their target was, if it was an SCV in the mineral line or something like that. Not a big deal, but always funny. It always makes me laugh when Terran, like, slams the door in another race's face. And it's just... It's an aesthetic that I think of a lot, you know?
Well, now that Yamato's been revealed, I think he truly knows. It's gonna be dedicated battlecruisers, which, you wouldn't... Yeah, I don't think you'd really want to play directly into Stargate against. I guess it is technically an option if you just go for 2 Stargates and double down on the Void Rays, but... then if they get Cyclones, it could be really hard to combat. So, just going to go into a more normal approach to trying to deal with this, which is Blink Stalkers. So the battlecruiser is going to abuse the airspace, but, you know, eventually you get to enough Stalkers that can one-shot the battlecruiser. It becomes a bit risky for the Terran player to do this.
Oh man, it must take a lot of Stalkers to one-shot a battlecruiser. Like a lot.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many. I've never counted. All I know is that when I'm always one short, you know what I mean? Teleport out of there. So, not a good feeling. Basically, facing mech in general is not really ever a good feeling, you know? Like, and even though Protoss can sometimes be mech-like, I still think that mech has the worst place for me in terms of the I'm good, oh shit, I'm not good, fuck this game, I hate it. Like, mech is just that for me, even though late game ZVP is also for both races. Late game PvZ, ZVP, I'm just also not a big fan of. But, yeah, because you feel like you're doing okay. You feel like, oh, they haven't done that much damage to me. Oh, mech's not, you know, maxed out, so I'm not really worried yet. And you, oh, the battlecruiser number's only at 2. Like, it's fine. And then suddenly it's not fine. It's 10 minutes later, and you realize you've lost the game.
Yeah, that's for me. But like, I know from that like minute 1, you know, like I'm like, oh, he's going mech. Like, oh, okay. Guess I'll die.
Oh, there was a time. Nice,
that
nice
was a
micro.
sick block or sick dodge.
Yeah, there was a time where I actually thought I was quite good at TvT mech versus mech rather, but that was a long time ago. And as Protoss, I usually feel quite confident. I don't face a guy like Special. This is so questionable.
Why did he blink into those tanks? Oh my god.
What?
And he's gonna lose the Void Ray too. Oh, and it survives, but I mean. That's the only thing that survives. And a blink forward aggressively. Is he just going to target pylons and end the game?
I don't think it matters. I think Hero ended the game for him. Now, Hero...
Actually, yeah.
wasn't exactly in the best situation, because you really would have wanted to have already, like, been on 4 bases. Well, he was getting there, but I think he would have been there faster, right? Like, that's the ideal situation, is that they didn't do any damage to you, and you already got the 80 probes on 4 bases, you got double upgrades on the way, and you have, like, 30 Stalkers. And Hero was not there, so I think he was already going to have a tougher time in this match. But then he just literally was, like, just blinks. That, I don't know, and I feel like if you would pause a second before the blink happened and you asked anyone of any skill what would happen if Hero blinked right now, everyone would have said he would die. I feel so strongly about this.
Oh, that Void Ray does actually bait one of the battle cruisers forward here. Well, that's nice, but he loses one battle cruiser. That's the first BC to die. That's the first BC to die in this game, and they have gotten so much value. You know what? I feel like Special here. So here's the thing: he's actually not playing to win this game, although he's going to, most likely. He is playing for subscribers and like support. He's playing for fans. He's like, people want to see battle cruisers. And everyone's like, do they? And he's like, yes.
Yeah.
Allow me, observe.
I think you're right. And it's working, man. It's working somewhat because herO just made that move that he did, but it's also I think it was already doing okay. And herO didn't have a super solid plan against it. I do think, just like real quick, before everyone thinks I'm a herO hater, I do think herO is playing questionable tonight. But that sometimes happens with him. I also think that herO, at his peak, he was the guy who would look at a situation and say, I can defeat that, when everyone else would be like, I don't know, herO. And he'd be right. I mean, 100%, I think that was peak herO, was like, no, that's not going to work out. And then it does. But I think the problem is that he's just not peak herO right now. He's still learning.
Yeah, he's relearning. He's got a lot of... And everyone is so much better at the game than they were in, like, 2013, 2014. 2015 even. Like, everyone has gotten so good at this damn game. Like, you can't just make bad moves and then make them good moves by being better than your opponent anymore. Yeah,
I know exactly what you're saying. I agree as well. Like, even though I think there are some people who are very diehard, especially like Korea sounds. They they say like Kespa House is gone. No one has to train 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Obviously, StarCraft has gotten worse, and I'm like, okay, calm down, buddy.
You're actually entirely wrong about that. It's gotten so much better. We are going to see a nice collapsing flank coming in here. Hellbats, though, are going to tank so much fire. The battle cruisers Yamatoing everything. Battle cruisers teleporting into the fight. Special microing back the one BC that actually has full health, but doesn't matter. He has way too much. He's done such a good job with these BCs. Nice little flank will come in, takes out a couple of those tanks, but honestly, like, the battle cruisers alone can almost win this game at this point.
Yeah, and they kind of did for the tanks going up against such a good concave was actually not the best if it was an entirely tank-based mech. But the battle cruisers included, and of course the Hellbats tanking as well. Like, that's very much helped. Finally, some of the low battle cruisers do go down. Special's probably just figuring he's gonna win, so he's not really caring to pull back and gather up again, which is actually really bad for mech. Like, it's definitely power in numbers. You try and just rally a tank at a time, and you're just gonna die. So that, I don't think Special does this unless he knew he was going to win, and he is going to win.
Yeah. He kills off 20 probes in the natural expansion. He will get cleaned up here. So that's, something for herO. But Special's on 91 SCVs. And maybe that's part of the reason why he pulled these SCVs. He was just like, screw it, I don't even care. Even if I lose 10 of them, like, I'm still good. And he is going to get in here with, the Blue Flame Hellions. Battery overcharge. It's going to help a little bit, but it doesn't keep everything alive.
And these poor probes are wondering why we didn't get the battery overcharge.
Do you not love us, Mommy?
No,
well, I love you
much.
Second. You're my second favorite child.
If Mom held you both over a cliff and had to let one of you go, it'd be you. God. I don't remember what movie that was, but Jesus, that will never escape my brain. Someone's gonna remember what movie I'm talking about, too, and finally let me know. This seems like it might be turning back and forth, but I really don't think it is, guys. Even though technically herO is on 5 Nexus.
The thing about mech, though, is, like, it is one of those situations where, as a composition, you really want to take control of the game. herO will find that base on the bottom, or on the top left, and a couple of SVs are going to go down here. Honestly, Special doesn't have as much as I would expect him to, considering his supply. Does that make any sense? That sounds weird to say, but, like... Like, if
I think...
Oh, well, okay, this is... this is... Never mind. I take it all back. Yeah, it's over.
I was gonna say, like, in defense of your point, I do think that the army was still kind of spread around. It's less army because of the CVs, yes, obviously, but it also was kind of spread around. And when you're not going just literally full tanks, a maxed out mech army can look a little bit meh. You know, if there's 40 supply and battle cruisers doing other things.
Yeah.
So that actually doesn't look like that intimidating of a number of tanks if herO was also at like 150 supply and he just had 20 zealots. Those tanks are actually, they're kind of loners and they might go down, but it's all about cohesion with mech, so assuming that special doesn't just send tanks into zealots, it's fine.
Oh my god, have you looked at the resources lost, by the way?
No.
It's it's pretty bad for herO. It's almost double when the total is at over 40,000 resources lost. I don't know that I've ever seen a Terran be that cost efficient in a TvP that went over 10 minutes. Like in terms of percentage wise.
I mean, I guess mech is supposed to be a little more cost efficient, but
that much more cost efficient? That
I mean, that was a lot
crazy.
to do with herO. I don't know if he was really comfortable against mech. I think we can say that much at the very least.